Now moving on to Japan. So the pros and cons that I listed are also another 4. They're pretty related to the American ones. So the first point is intensity. It's pretty intense down here. The pros to the intensity of Japanese schools is that students try harder, and they also tend to be more respectful towards teachers and their elders and such. And they also tend to just be considered smarter, generally. Because, I mean, you shouldn't know. I mean, in America, the students are considered some of the lesser smart people in the world, and Japanese people, the better, more smarter people of the world. I blame the intensity mostly on society, because everyone is just like pushing them super hard. Like, if you don't go do your best and work your hardest and work every single day, you're not gonna get into a good college and you're gonna not live. The con to that is it's so intense that Japan has one of the highest suicide rates in the world. Yeah, sad. Next one, the clubs again. This includes sports as well. So the pros to the cons are that I don't know, that's not a thing, I don't think. The pros to the clubs and sports in Japan is that they are so intense that students are in them every single day, and they don't really have an opportunity to get into trouble. I mean, if you've got free time and you're bored, that's when you tend to get into trouble. I do that. I just don't. I just do it on a lower level than, you know, drugs and that stuff. I just do it in, like, the way where I do stuff at home, like play video games. Why can't people do that? Why can't people, like, play video games when they get bored instead of go out and do drugs? I don't know. I'm not other people. Well, oh, and another great thing is that because they practice, like, every single day on weekends, like, I'm serious, on weekends we'll practice anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. And for kendo, if we're at a practice match, we'll be out for like 12 hours that day. We seriously will. And we've got practice like every morning before school for like 40 minutes, and then after school until like 6. It's crazy. You've got no time to do anything in life other than that sport. But because of that, you become pro. You become beast. So yes, I am beast at kendo. I'm just kidding, I'm not beast. But because of that, you don't have time to do anything else, so you can't go out and have fun with your friends in the nice way, not doing drugs. And you can't really find other things that you like to do. And I find that kind of sad and disappointing, actually. For me, at least, since I'm an exchange student, if I want a day off, I just go up to my teacher and say, can I have a day off? And I get it, but my friends can't do that. They have to go unless they're, like, sick. They have to go. And I find that kind of sad. So the next point I have is for classes. In Japan, you don't change every single class. You have the same group of 40 people all day, every single day. And so, because of that, you can make friends better, and it's easier to communicate with each other about what's for this class and that stuff. And so, I think that's a pro. But then the con, I guess, would be is that people vary in people have different strengths for different classes. In the United States, every class is... Oh. I didn't realize it was that long. I will finish this again later. Okay. Yep, time for a break. Right, take 3. I'm sad. sorry, this video is gonna be so long because I keep getting interrupted and interrupting myself and then going off topic, and the topic that I was hoping to do today is like out the window, but that's okay. So, where was I about? I was on learning levels. Okay, well, I'll go to the next point anyway. The last point for Japan is homework. This I put under pros because, I mean, it can, I guess in a way, it also reflects onto the grading, so so I put it under pro because in Japan there's like no homework, virtually no homework at all. Like, maybe you'll have something once a month. Maybe. There's like virtually no homework. It's nearly all studying. I don't know if you even get graded on the homework that you actually do. I guess in the US you'd say that's a great pro. But the con to that would be that it doesn't get graded, so it doesn't go into your grading. It affects some of your grades because in the US, homework is a big part of your grade, and so there's not a lot of homework here, so yeah, all of the grading goes into your exams. So to summarize, for America, I had 4 points for pros and cons. The points were freedom, classes, grading, and clubs/sports. And I found freedom as a pro because you can go as far as you want to, but it was a con because you could also slack off as much as you want to. The pros for the classes was that you can learn with people who are on your own level, but the con to that would be that it's harder to make friends, I guess. Pros to grading is that it's spread out a lot between homework and tests and projects, but I guess the con to that is you can squirrel out of getting bad grades somehow. And then the pros to the clubs or sports is that it's more relaxed and you have more time off to do other stuff, but the con would be that you have more time off to do bad things. Yeah. To summarize the Japan stuff, the 4 points that I had were the intensity, clubs/sports, the classes, and the homework. And so the pros for the intensity is that the students tend to try harder and they tend to be more respectful towards their elders, but the cons are that it's really, really pressured on the students, and so they tend to commit suicide more often. The pros for clubs and sports is that you're so busy with your clubs that you can't really get into trouble with anything else, and you also become beast at your sport. But the con to it would be that it's so intense that you can't really do anything else and find other stuff that you might have an interest in. Pros for classes that I found were that you have the same people, so it's easier to make friends and communicate with each other about what you need for classes. But the con to that would be that there's different learning levels, and so if that's a con. And then the pro for homework is that there is hardly any, but the con for that is also that there is hardly any, which affects grading. So in the end, my opinion is that I like the U.S. education system better than the Japanese education system, which is actually kind of interesting because before I came to Japan, I thought that the U.S. education system was so weak that I don't know what was going on with it. I felt so restricted. I couldn't do anything. I felt like I should have been doing more than what I was doing, but I couldn't, and that there were so many people who weren't doing better than they should have. But I still think that the U.S. education system is better because the biggest point is that you have the freedom to be able to do more than anyone else, that you can go at your own level and you don't have to stick at everyone else's level. But in Japan, as opposed to Japan, where you have to do everything at the same pace as everybody else. If anything that you've learned by yourself is not accredited, is not recognized by any schools or government, private or public school. So even though the Japanese education system appears to be more successful, I personally like the US education system better. I think that the Japanese education system is more successful because it's more intense, and it's because it's so strict and focused, because you cannot go above or below anybody else. You have to be at that level. It's so strict because of that, I think that's why students are at that level. But in the US, you can go anywhere on the scale, and so a lot of people think that if they, well, I'll just be down here on the scale because it's a lot easier. So that's why I think that the Japanese system appears to be more successful, but for people who actually want to do something and work hard, the US system probably works better. So this is just my opinion on Japanese versus the US education system, based on things that I've experienced and have learned. I would like to know what other people think, because, well, why not? I like learning other points of view. I'm really open-minded. I like learning what other people like to think. Just as long as they're not rude about it. Stuff, yeah. So I would like to know what you think. Even if you don't know that much about the Japanese education system or the US education system, what do you think? What have you heard that makes you think this one is better than this one, or this part of this one is good, but this part of this one is bad? And so yeah, please share with me in the comments below. I would like to know. And again, I apologize for all of the disruptions before. That was a lot of interesting stuff. And please pardon my hair. My hair is a little crazy. It usually is. It's wavy, and it likes to go crazy sometimes, and that rhymes, wavy and crazy. No, it doesn't. It's just the Y at the end. I don't know why I thought they rhymed. Wavy, crazy. They sound like they rhyme, but they don't really. Oh. Okay. I'm done. I don't know how to end this. How do I end this? I don't like endings. Well, as you guys have experienced along with me, today has been quite the adventure as well. Trying not to be seen by teachers taking a video in the library and eventually ending up back at home and just finishing the video here. And my camera's running out of battery, so I will be closing up for now, and I will see you guys later.